How's it going, everybody? Thanks again for stopping on by. I actually wanted to talk to you about what I think you can do in order to prep yourself for Lambda Labs. Now that I just finished going over it with my amazing team and we built this super awesome website, which if you want, I will show you kind of like a quick overview of that later on, but that's only if people want to see it. I do want to talk about what you can do in order to prep yourself, so stay tuned. So before we start the video, I'd just like to say thank you very much for all the awesome comments. I haven't been able to post in a while and people have still been commenting and watching the videos and telling me that it's helping out, and that's what I wanted to make this channel for. It kind of just to document my experience on how I became a web developer, so hopefully it'll lead to a job someday and then you guys can see what I did rather than just reading about it 3 years from now, when I made it and I'm over here trying to remember what I did. And I kind of feel like that just makes it sound too easy because like they're already in that space, so they can already say, oh, this is what you need to do. You need to build projects, so I don't really like that. Another part is so that maybe I could help other people who are confused about what route they should take or whether or not they think that my school is where they need to go to. So with that said, I want to go over what I think can help you before, during, and after labs. So the biggest thing that I can say before going into labs that I can say is the most important, to me at least, is your team. And by that, I don't mean that you have to find the most amazing people. You don't have to find these people that just like knock everything out the park and all that, although it helps. I'd say you have to kind of get with people that you know, people that you can communicate with, people that you can share ideas with, and just keep that communication open every single day. Don't wait on your PM to start the Zoom or whatever. You hop in, like if it's time for a Zoom, you hop in with that. And you Zoom for as long as your team needs to in order to be on the right page, and so that everybody knows what they need to be working on that day and what they need to knock out. You want everybody to be able to coordinate as much as possible. If you don't do that, you'll have one person working on a feature that nobody wants, and then you guys will have to backtrack because something else wasn't built to work with that. And so that can cause a lot of issues. So communication, keep those open. Understand that you're not going to win every battle and get the website to look exactly the way you want with your features. This is not your website. This is a team project. So understand that. Understand that you're going to have to talk about things for a very long time. We've had 2-hour Zooms just on issues, on how the site should look. We spent a lot of time planning before we even touched like any code. We actually spent the first 2 days just talking, just planning. We had this ginormous list, which is actually on our GitHub, which I'll link down below so that you guys can see, you can see our site and you can click on it and everything and mess around with it, register, do all that fun stuff. But we had 2 days of just planning. So that was 2 days of actually just talking about what we needed to do because they didn't give us much to go on. What they gave us was a wireframe, and there was nothing on the wireframe. It was literally just a drawing with some digital sticky notes on it. And so you have to, and the sticky notes had like, they didn't have like, this is the feature that I want. They had a kind of like a very vague idea of, I would like for this to happen. I would like for that to happen. It'd be nice if you could do this, things like that. And so a lot of stuff open to interpretation. Whenever we came across something that wasn't completely 100%, we would immediately talk to the client, which would be our instructor. He's kind of like our client. He's telling us what he wants. And so communication, not just with your team, but also with the client, understanding what they want so that when you build it, they don't just look at you like, what the heck is this? This is not what I asked for. Maintain communication. Another thing I want to talk about is testing. So testing can be pretty difficult. It can be pretty hard to wrap your head around, especially if it's just a blank like component that's supposed to just render a few things, then it's fine. You might have like a event where you click on a button and something happens. That's not too hard. But when you have things that are coming in from somewhere else and have these really deep functionality and are very have a lot of logic behind it, they can kind of build up on you. So what I did was week 1, I kind of started on the base of the test. I only had some bare bones components that I put up there as templates to kind of just guide the project. So there wasn't much to test except for, yes, they render, things like that. And I knew that eventually they would break because we're going to be adding more stuff to it, more logic. And so once they break and then we finish a component, somebody would come up behind it and test it or whatever. It might break again later or whatever. Either way, we had the test already started. So all you had to do is maybe change a few things around. And so we kind of kept going with that. If you leave it for the last week, testing is not easy, especially when your components get really complex. And so you're not going to want to do that because they take a long time, especially if you're just starting, then you're not going to have the time to test a lot of things. You might, by that point, you might want to start bug fixing and cleaning a bunch of stuff up or getting some last minute things done. You're not going to have the time for testing. By the time we finished our testing, we were very confident that things were going to work the way they were because we built the test around it and we covered a lot of cases where things should fail and things shouldn't fail. And so that really helped us out. If you can or find the time before going into labs, try looking into very common party APIs, such as what would you use for authentication. So we went with Firebase. If we could go back, we'd probably go with OAuth. Some other teams went with just Passport, you know. So there are a lot of different type of third-party authentication that you can use. So try to find out which one is the best for what you're trying to solve. Just research a bunch of them, maybe try some of them on a small project or whatever, and you know, just get a feel for it. Get a feel for Stripe. It's not very difficult to use, but it'd be nice to know something about it before trying to implement it. Take a look at Stripe. It'll get you pretty far just off of that alone. I wouldn't even say to worry about the project itself. As long as your team is set, you have the information and knowledge, and you know what stack you're going to be using. You guys have all agreed on it, because I heard some teams where it was just one person that agreed on it and kind of forced his will on everybody else and said this is what we're going to be using, and that causes some problems. So there has to be a reason why you're using a stack. Don't just go for the new shiny thing, you know, or what you think will be very popular or something like that, because you're asking a lot from your team to learn a lot of new technologies on the go just to show off. It takes a while for people to learn. There's some people that learn really quick and some people that I'm a slower learner. And so I can't learn an entire language completely from the beginning while keeping track of this project and everything. So it would be a very big struggle that you put on your team just because you didn't want to listen to their side. That goes back to communication. And so with that, I think that those are pretty much the top things that I would say really helped me and my team get through labs. It also helps that they were just a bunch of badasses and worked really hard, and we didn't take any time off. You might take a day here or there or whatever on the weekend, but for the most part, we were sitting there crunching and working and just dedicated to the project because we wanted to see it succeed. So again, thanks again for watching. And if you want, you can subscribe, like the video, maybe share it. And if you want to check out the website that we built, the link to the GitHub is down below. And see you guys next time.
They know the bait was suicide. Too deep when I ride. Ruby getting out for the pills.